50% of straight marriages end in divorce. That is like US data. It's a proven fact. So you're going to spend $60,000.
Do we have the data yet on the gay marriages or?
No, because we haven't legally been allowed to marry long enough. What's up, friends? Welcome back to the number 2 podcast. I'm Glenn.
I'm Simi.
And this episode is going to be
buggers.
Really good. As always, shout out to our subscribers. If you haven't subscribed yet, what are you waiting for? We have content coming out Monday and Friday every week. So if you're driving to work and you need something to listen to, Bluetooth it in. Or if you have one of those little cables like I do, and play the pod. You might learn something. And if you hate the topics, it's because you haven't left a comment. This is an interactive podcast.
Yes, we take all your comments seriously and to heart.
Such as the one comment that YouTube blocked yesterday that started with an R.
And ended with a tard. So thank you.
Thank you for that. To that wonderful subscriber. We appreciate you.
And thank you to YouTube for automatically blocking it because it's very mean.
Wonderful. Wonderful. The dream. I dreamed a dream. I think a good topic for this episode is going to be weddings.
Oh, God.
Why do people have weddings? A. B. It's ridiculous. And C. This is going to be like we can be like the number 2 dual podcast where we both argue both sides, even though we share this opinion, but not really. You like weddings. It just seems like it's an opportunity for someone to liquidate the assets of everyone around them, be it financial, time, emotions. You know what I mean? Like is there a positive outcome from a wedding? Like,
I think it's just an event. You know, I love going to weddings.
Then why not just have an event? Why not just say we're having a get together with a budget? Like instead of a house party, we're having it at like a horrible Holiday Inn and we're paying for catering.
Yes, a wedding is definitely like super performative, so you can see it like
performative is the word I'm looking for. You're right. It's performative.
Yeah, you can see it 2 ways. It's like a performative like type of thing. It's just like, you know, a pick me energy type of thing. So it kind of makes it a little bit chuggy, but at the same time, it's a celebration and a tradition of like bringing 2 people together, bringing 2 families together, and that's
the pitch.
Yeah,
in its purest form. It's like religion. Like in its purest form. And it's in the summary, the AI summary, it's a good thing, but it never is a good thing. You know what I mean? And it's also like, other than like the weird black and white photos that then they put on their wall that nobody looks at other than them, like what's the outcome?
Yeah, I mean, it's just something I think everybody like in our society has been brought up to kind of like idolize, you know, little girls, even little boys grow up like thinking like, I want to get married one day. I want to have this like picture perfect life of doing XYZ and doing it in this way because that's how it's always kind of been done. But I don't know. I think for people like me and you, sometimes it is kind of like performative just because we're me and you are not even the ones to even celebrate our birthdays just because it's just like, I don't know.
Performative.
Have you seen those kids on TikTok or those babies on TikTok where they're not used to being sung happy birthday to? And they have all of a sudden all these people sing happy birthday to them and they like freak out and start crying. I think that's us. It's like the social anxiety, but people love to be performative and love the attention and, you know.
But is that narcissism? Like, what is that? I mean, we don't have to put a label on it. I'm just saying, like, I don't relate. Like what you said, I've never thought about my wedding once. Like, not once.
Really?
We've had conversations about it where I've like made up like something so extravagant and extreme that like I'd never be able to afford it. Yeah. But it wasn't anywhere near really like a wedding. It was more like a free trip for me. You know what I mean? Like that, and also involved people I care about. Mostly. Yeah. I just like I'm not a Debbie Downer, but I am. It costs everybody money. Travel costs, time costs, outfit costs.
Well, that's why you let people know like months and months and months ahead of time, you know.
So this is where I'm going to push back.
Yeah.
We are living in 2024 where it is next to impossible to plan ahead. because you don't know if there's going to be another pandemic.
Yeah.
You don't know if there's going to be terrorism. You don't know if you're going to get laid off from your job. Like, so it is unrealistic.
True.
To even a year advance, 2 years advance. Like, you're not helping anybody. You're just getting me really stressed out about something in 2 years. You know what I mean? Like, you're better off calling me right now and saying the wedding is in an hour. And I'm more likely to say, well, we have to go. You know what I mean? Like, because this is the thing, than to make me stress about it for 2 years. Like, I think that's selfish. You know what I mean? Unless
no.
So here's the cure. Like, if you are going to have a wedding, these are my rules for if you're going to have a wedding. It should not cost anybody anything. So if you are going to selfishly have this thing,
like a destination wedding or something, where like
you need to pay for it. You know what I mean? Like, you need to call my boss. And you need to say, I'm doing this special thing.
But what if your, I don't know, sister lived in Montana, and then she's inviting you to you're going to have to get a ticket to go to Montana, you know?
Selfish.
So
the phone call or the invitation should say the tickets will arrive 2 weeks before digitally by the travel agent that planned the wedding. And then they are first class. The hotel concierge will call you to confirm the room.
Astronomical.
And Men's Warehouse or Nordstrom will call you. They've digitally measured you.
They're gonna arrive to your house, and they're gonna
but like that,
they're gonna scan you with the scanner, not even touch your body.
Yeah, that's a party I want to attend. But don't tell me that I have
unrealistic. You're so funny.
But if you think you can, if you think you can afford it, which I've been to these weddings, you can't afford it. You're going to be in debt forever, or you're robbing your parents blind. It's their parents paying for it, which y'all are idiots. For one day, $50,000-$60,000 for one day. And
you better have an open bar.
You better have an open bar because I'm drinking. But I hate to break it to you. 1 in 2, 50% of straight marriages end in divorce. That is like US data. It's a proven fact. So you're going to spend $60,000.
Do we have the data yet on the gay marriages, or
no? Because we haven't legally been allowed to marry long enough, and then they'd have to. I don't know. We don't have the data on that. A lot of marriages.
Yeah,
only been to one gay wedding, and it ended in divorce.
That's true. I have only been to one gay wedding.
It ended in divorce.
It did, and
I'll never get to try that Indian food.
Ugh.
All I'm saying is, I'm not trying to be a Debbie Downer. I'm not trying to be negative. I respect that people want to participate in a tradition that makes no sense, because if you look at their parents' wedding, it was probably at a church hall somewhere, and it didn't cost that much, and there was a cake, and it was friends and family, and it was a beautiful party. It wasn't, I paid 700 vendors for this performance.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, because that's what weddings are now. It's a business.
Well, I mean, I've always said, and I got flack from it from some friends who are straight, saying basically that, like, it's great that, like, you know, we can have a wedding now, like gay people can get married. But I feel personally that our wedding should be different than a hetero wedding, just because a hetero wedding is a traditional wedding where, like, it's done a certain way because, you know, the parents are bringing like these two men and women together. In some
religions, it's called like a sacrament. But there's like something you have to do.
I feel like LGBTQ, we have a history of like not being able to get married. A lot of parents not really kind of like being supportive. So there's going to be a lot of people's parents who can't like walk them down the aisle. I'm always like, and not only that, it's like same sex. So it's like, you know, the man stands up there and the woman comes up after to be presented to the man, you know? So I always felt like it was just like, didn't make sense for a gay wedding. And a lot of like gay couples, they kind of still do the hetero traditional weddings because that's how,
based on religion,
they want it for themselves,
that
you know,
reject them.
But I think we as a community could get married, but we don't necessarily have to do it like that. And my friends got like mad at me, like, why are you trying to make it like we're not different, we're the same? And it's just like, no, I understand, and I'm not trying to be like we are different, but like we are different, you know? And so it's like, when I think of a wedding, when I want to do it, like I think of it being like in a circle rather than like a traditional church where
you're focused on the seating arrangement.
Yeah, well, I mean, just like how it's going to be arranged, just because
if I'm going to do a performance, I want to be in the center of the arena. I don't want to be at the front of a proscenium.
I just feel like a man and man or a woman, like we're going to come in together, maybe, like how do we do it differently than like it's always been done, because we're not the same. It's going to be different,
Well, I think weddings, it comes from like
has to be different.
The perform you want a different I get it. Okay. Yeah. I don't care about the gay straight thing, whatever.
No, I don't care about that either. I'm just saying
I 100% agree with what you're saying. Like,
set up differently.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think church weddings traditionally, like, it's through religion, and like that's just how churches are built. There's like an aisle in the middle because it's this performance for God and the statues and the naked baby, whatever. Yeah. But I just think it's interesting. Something that came to mind before you started talking about that, which I like that idea. Genius. It's always interesting because almost every straight couple I've ever met that suddenly is getting married, even though, 3 months before they're like ratchet at the clubs, on drugs, alcoholics, like, not holier than thou.
They're everybody.
The majority of people I've met that have gotten married that are straight, it's like they're like horrible human beings. They're a mess. And then all of a sudden,
Glenn, what are you talking about? You're generalizing a whole population.
All of a sudden, they're engaged. And then they realize they have to get married. And then they start to go to church. I'm just saying, like, it's very hypocritical. And then because the church won't let you get married because you're not a member of the church, you know what I mean? But then they're like, I have to get married and I'm suddenly Catholic. And then like these same people make this big deal about religion, and then they have a church wedding. The party has nothing to do with the church. The party is just as ratchet as before. It's not holier than thou. And then they never go back to church. You know what I mean? Like, I just think it's very hypocritical. You know what I mean? It's like, I don't believe in that stuff either, but it's just funny that it's like you're going to put everything aside for this thing that just like happens to exist in the past in your family's lineage. But then you're just going to go back to this. I don't know. It's performative. You know what I mean? And it drives me nuts versus saying like, I am who I am. I've met this person. We want to be monogamous, hopefully by choice. You know what I mean? And like, we want to have a party to celebrate it. And we want to also have the tax incentives. But instead, it's like we are now suddenly...
Were we talking about hetero couples?
I mean, and gay couples. But like, I know a lot of hetero couples where it's like you look at them and then all of a sudden they go through this like weird thing where they're like trying to like beg their forgiveness of these churches. But it's like, you're not even like, why are you even having a church wedding? Like, you know what I mean? And then it's like they never go back.
Yeah.
But churches in general won't let you get married in the church unless you're a member of the church. You know what I mean? Like, you can't just show up.
Is that true?
Especially for Catholic churches.
Oh, okay.
I mean, they'll let you rent the venue, probably like poorer churches, you know what I mean? But like those nice ones, like...
Yeah, I don't know the whole logistics behind it. But
it's just
I don't necessarily
just
agree.
Observations.
Maybe it's some people that that are... those types of people who are alcoholic. I wouldn't necessarily generally like a whole population of like...
I'm not generalizing everybody. I'm not speaking to anybody I know specifically. I'm just saying we're all on Facebook. Like,
yeah. And it's so funny because I feel like people don't have like a gauge sometimes, because I'll do things where I will be like, I'll put a quote up on Instagram and I'll be like, I don't know, I'll put a song in it where it talks about narcissists or like this and that. And then like a friend of mine would be like, oh, you want to come for me online? And I'm like, I was not talking about you. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
So
social media is crazy like that, though. It's so true. Like, I am not that smart. Like, I literally saw a post and I reposted it because it spoke to me. Like, I don't even know.
And sometimes you think people have like common sense or I don't know, but I've realized that a lot of people, even our humor, right? For instance, it's not real. It's like, it's just, we're joking, and people will take it for word. They can't read sarcasm or they can't read satire. And so, or like figure out that we're doing that.
Yeah.
And so I'm always like worried about like certain things that we say sometimes. So I'm like censoring myself sometimes because I don't want to offend, but like, bruh, we're joking.
No, you just have to be yourself.
And I think that's what happens when I put those quotes on Instagram sometimes, because you see a quote, you're like, yeah, I want to post it like that, and I'm gonna put this song to it because like, independent women or something, I don't know.
Yeah.
And then somebody comes to you like, oh, you want to be all whatever on like social
then
media. You're like, what?
Yeah.
I was not even talking about you, but if the shoe fits,
You're like,
then
you may
wear
be a narcissist if everything you read on social media you think is about you.
Literally.
All the world is a stage and we are merely players.
At this point, I don't give a anymore.
It's crazy. The level of effort.
But yeah, with the whole wedding stuff, I just think, because I mean,
these are just observations.
One day,
like I don't feel negatively about it.
We've been together for almost 10 years. It'll be 10 years at the end of this year,
and that's where we part. And you
and
go on to a
we
new,
have not
a new
gotten
decade.
married. But one day, hopefully, God willing, we will get married one day.
You think so?
If the financials make sense.
It seems exhausting.
It does seem exhausting.
Oprah never married Stedman.
I know. I like things the way they are. But, it might happen one day. And trust me, when it happens, it's going to be a performance.
No.
So many performances.
No.
Yeah. It's going to be performance ridden.
No comment. I don't know. Maybe in another life.
But I definitely think it's not going to be the traditional thing. And I get flack for that. And I don't see why it should be the same. It's so weird. And I don't feel wrong about saying that. I feel right about saying that. And I'm sorry if you're offended.
Can I tell them my wedding pitch?
Okay, go ahead. Disney. All gay weddings should be at Disney.
Disney does a good job. I'm sick of
that
these
is the
like
new gay wedding.
I'm
Disney
sick of these
weddings.
like Holiday Inn like stupid. It's like people picking these wedding venues. It's like it looks like grandma's cupboard. Like why would you pick it? I don't care what the price is. Like go to Disney. Like they have cheap packages. The hotels are nice. It's clean. The catering is trustworthy. It's magical. There's stuff for people to do. Like my pitch for the wedding is there's no ceremony. We ain't doing no ceremony, but you charter a jet and you take, it's not that expensive if you save for it. And then we would just take a limited number of people depending on the jet. So start sucking up to us now.
Are you a Kardashian all of a sudden?
It's not that expensive. You can charter a jet.
Is Kris Jenner your manager?
Yes. And then what I would want to do is I would want to go to all the places that are significant in both of our lives. So we'd go to San Jose, like have a dinner and an activity. We'd go to Kansas, have a dinner and activity. We'd go to Chicago, where I went to school.
I feel like this is the conversation that we have when we talk about if you won the lottery, what would you do?
No, it's not that expensive. This is the same cost as all these terrible weddings that I've been to, where the food's not good, the playlist isn't good, I'm in an uncomfortable outfit. Like the dress code at my wedding is not going to be Men's Warehouse and like ugly ass dresses. It's going to be, there might be a color palette, but like we're not doing traditional.
What are you talking about?
Hokey.
If we get married, all of the women have to wear fasteners. It's going to be a British.
Oh, like the little hat.
Yeah. It's going to be like a British.
Yeah, we could do some dumb shit like that. Like that's fun because it gives people an experience. Like I'm just sick of being uncomfortable. Like ain't no ties and like dumb shit. Like it's uncomfortable.
Oh no, we're definitely doing ties.
No. Your side of the family can be like in super uncomfortable outfits. And then my side of the family will be in like,
bro, I'm Samoan.
We're gonna do togas.
My side of the family, well, I am half British, so half of them would be in fasteners.
Let it be known now so you can budget. Let it be known now so you can budget. Closed shoes. If I see your feet,
chopping them off.
No, security will escort you out. Talofa. Fafafinge.
Oh my gosh.
I don't even know what that means. That's like a white person, right?
No.
Sweet. No, that's not right.
I can't with you.
Sosua.
Sosui. Absolutely not.
Anyway.
That's what you should do. Sosui.
My pitch is great. It's never going to happen, so don't worry about it. But that being said, what do you guys think of weddings? People seem to love them, so I'm in the minority, which is fine. I'm always in the minority my whole life.
I think they're great. It is pick me energy sometimes. It is like a performative type of thing, but they're fun. Like let people live.
I feel like instead of a DJ, spend the money, maybe like a jazz band. Something better than a nasty DJ.
Oh no, I need the Yin Yang Twins.
No. The DJs are always horrible. No, like weird dances, like just because somebody was like in a hip hop group.
Oh, I'm telling you.
Or in the cheer squad. Nobody wants to see that. Like, it's like, y'all are old.
We're talking all
higher
this crap
professional
right now,
dancers.
but I'll tell you right now, it's going to be a full production.
I'll leave.
If we have to have a wedding, we're really like going to lean into the performative part because
I'd like the chipper chicken. You know, that's from Father of the Bride. When Martin Short, he's like Frank, remember? He's explaining all the prices. And he's like, it's time to pick the cake. And they're like, what? And then, what's his name? Steve Martin goes, I'd like the chipper chicken, the cheaper chicken.
The chipper chicken.
But remember, the chef's like, we could do the fish. It's a good movie. Father of the Bride Part 2.
Okay, next topic is...
We watched a movie last night.
We did.
What topic do you want to talk about?
Speaking of that movie, I love that actress. She's...
Lupita Nyong'o?
Yeah, I saw her on The Hot Ones. Sorry, we have neighbors. I saw her on The Hot Ones, and after seeing that, it made me love her even more.
If you could have your own industry plant marketing show on YouTube, like The Hot Ones, what would it be?
The Number 2 Podcast.
Okay, so if the Number 2 Podcast had a 7-step eating challenge, what would it be? You couldn't do spicy food because that's obviously been done.
So you go the opposite direction. You do the coldest food.
These grapes have been frozen.
No, I think you would do like shots.
You do alcohol. I think they already have that show.
They do?
And you just get drunk. I think so. There's a lot of like chat shows like that. I feel like that's like
I feel like if you have
What's
that,
his
you'd have to
name?
have that show like at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Just because like you're like 9 a.m. in the morning, you're just taking shots. You're done for the day.
When watching people get drunk isn't funny. Like watching people like suffer from
Speak for yourself.
hot sauce.
That one time where Seth was getting drunk with Lizzo, that was hilarious.
Yeah.
But body dysmorphia.
Oh God, that's the topic. God.
Sometimes I still feel like I'm the skinny 20-year-old guy that I was. And then sometimes I'll get a little side glance of a reflection. And I'm like, oh, we are a full-fledged
Man.
bear.
Yeah, something I didn't that was not on the disclaimer when I bought you was like the vanity part.
What vanity? I lost my vanity a long time ago when we got together.
It's not wow. Thank you. If only it weren't true. I'm just not like a big beauty person. Like partly it's like poverty.
Girl,
but like
you are a lie.
No, there are people that like schedule their haircuts every 2 weeks.
Yourself.
They do
yourself.
night care, like
but
skin
you
routines.
Are into bodybuilding. You're into aesthetic.
I like to work out. I'd like to look like I work out, but like it's not like.
Well, when we first met, like,
I don't like
you're not in bad shape now, but like you were like super, like Olympian type of shape, like super cut. Like I think you do have
a lot more time and a lot less stress on my hands before I met you, and I was single. So let's do that again.
Yeah, it happens when you get in a relationship. You kind of.
But vanity aside, I think what you're saying is very true to a lot of people. It's like, it's not like one cheeseburger. It's like 2 years later, you're like trying to add them up and you're like, I think this is why, but it creeps up on you.
Yeah.
Same with like, if you
maybe I should have one cheeseburger instead of two.
They're so good.
Yeah.
It's a challenge, but yeah, we're on our health journey. We've been working out.
But I mean, have you ever experienced body dysmorphia? Like, do you sometimes like I'll look at pictures of when I was in, like very good shape. And then I remember the headspace I was in back then. And I was like, I thought I was
looking at myself on the camera like, oh God.
Boy, I thought you were in vain. And I just remember my headspace during that time. And I remember back then, I thought I was so like out of shape, fat. And looking back, I'm like, oh my gosh, like I wish I looked like that now.
Yeah.
But even now, it's like, I think that now about myself. And I'm sure 10 years from now, I'll look back and be like, man, if I could just go back to that, just never satisfied. What about
Never
you?
satisfied. I'm definitely never satisfied. I don't think about it that much. I think about it in terms of like health. Like, how do I feel right now? And I know when I feel unhealthy.
And right now,
I have the plague.
I'm nauseous.
I'm nauseous. We got to start doing hot yoga. It's the only way.
You swear by hot yoga.
I haven't been in years, but if you guys have ever done hot yoga, it's like you can't stop. Like, that's the problem. You have to continue. Like, you have to go every day.
I remember the
problem.
first time you took me to yoga, and it was a hot yoga class.
Yeah.
And I was like down for it. I thought it was going to be like a relaxing yoga class where we're doing all these like poses, like warrior one type stuff. But we get there, there's weights involved. It's a hot room. Class. It was like a sculpt class. I remember halfway through, I like looked at you. I like looked over and I looked at you, and I was like, I can't believe you did. I was so mad at you. And then you just looked over me and you like smiled and laughed, and we just kept on working out. But it was a good class, though. I mean,
but
we
it's
were
the
drenched.
Best way to work out, because it's like you against you. You know, there's no other workout. Like, you can cheat when you lift weights at the gym. You can cheat when you do cardio. You can cheat. You can lie to yourself the whole time. You can say, "I'm going to watch this TV episode and walk for an hour." That ain't doing shit. You're just working your heart. But if you're in a yoga class and you literally have to do downward dog, like, which is like the easiest thing, but yet so hard, like, there's no escape. You feel your stomach. You feel your back fat, you feel your legs, you know your strength, you know your grip, and then you're battling your brain, which is like the thing you have to strengthen.
Yeah.
But it's expensive. Hot yoga is not cheap. So
turn off the air conditioning in your own house, in your own living room, and watch a video.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't really struggle with body dysmorphia. I know where I'm at. I think where I struggle is I have a part-time job now where I have to wear a uniform.
Yeah.
And the clothes are like not modern. They're traditional, like patterns, I guess, like from the 1950s.
Yeah.
So your waist sits where your waist traditionally is, like above your belly button. And that's when I have a little body dysmorphia, because
you look frumpy or something.
Well, you just realize like there's extra and it's visible. You know what I mean? Like, you can hide beneath a baggy t-shirt and shorts.
You know what my cure to that is, fashion wise? If you're a thick guy, right? Thick fabrics. So it's like, if you're going to wear a t-shirt, like this is even like a little, you know,
a little too thin,
but it like pro clubs. And I'm not like, but before they got super popular on TikTok, I'm not joking. I'd always go to the swap meets and I'd buy a bunch of like pro clubs and I'd cut them. I'd cut like, sometimes I leave the shoulders as long, but I would get like the 2 to 3 XL, and then I'd like cut, you know, just so they're not so long, cut the bottoms of it. And you want to cut it because you know that they're going to roll a little bit, cut it longer than where you think you want it on like your waist or stomach. And then, yeah, I would always do that. And it's a thicker fabric. So like, you know, your rolls or whatever don't really kind of show through your t-shirt, especially if it's like windy.
Yeah.
But that was like always like
fashion
my trick.
Tips.
Fashion tips.
The number 2 pod.
For plus size men.
You know, a lot of people don't know what a swap meet is.
I mean,
I'd never been to a swap meet till I moved to California.
That's where you go swap your meat.
There's no swapping. You have to pay.
But it's the greatest thing.
Yeah, ever. They do a good job.
And
you could turn the air conditioning up, but I get it.
But yeah, thicker fabrics and no skinny jeans.
No skinny jeans.
Yeah, definitely no skinny jeans. What's your favorite thing on the internet right now?
What is my favorite thing on the internet right now? Nothing. I have decided. I think somebody else decided this because I think I heard about it in a podcast or on social media, but they ruined the internet. Like, the internet was supposed to be this like super collaborative, like, you know, like MySpace, like sharing community, Facebook space. And it's all the internet is now is a store. Everything has a paywall. You know what I mean? So it's like, I have found when I sit down at the computer, I'm like, you know, you go to type a website. I'm like, I don't even know what to type. Versus before, you're like, oh, like let me learn about this. Like, let me learn about this. Let me watch this. It's like, if you're going to watch something, it's monetized. So you're forced to watch ads, which I don't have any money, so I'm not going to buy anything. If you go to any other website, it's a store. Like, I don't have any money. I'm not going to buy anything. I mean, I may look, but you know what I mean? And then it's like, then everything else is like Like I'm job hunting right now. So it's like you go to these things and it's like all these job listings that you apply for and then they never respond. So you're like, okay, that's a negative experience. Like,
yeah, what is that? I mean, you can apply to thousands of jobs.
I've applied to thousands of jobs
and only get maybe like,
they don't even respond anymore.
Yeah, maybe like 5 replies just saying that unfortunately they've gone a different direction.
They've gone a different direction. Like even though you have 20 years of experience and a degree, they don't care.
What is that?
They're not real jobs. There's data to prove a lot of them are fake. It's just companies saving face. Anyway, not the point of this podcast. The problem with the internet is it should be a collaborative, like community-based space where like we as human beings, as a species, are like elevating like life, which should be like a pleasure. And instead, capitalism basically has said,
like, I don't even think you need websites anymore just because
you don't.
You have your social media page.
Yeah.
You know, and it's just like, okay, you need your website, you need your Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, like all these things. And even when you apply for jobs, like they want to know your socials.
But even socials they've ruined, because you think about it, like the reason people liked Instagram was you were like getting to share, you know, it was like, oh my gosh, my friend got to do this, like, and then next time you see your friend you get to have a fun conversation about it. But now it's like
they don't even show you your friends.
It doesn't even show anything. It's just the whole point is like get as many followers as possible and then make money off of it. You know what I mean? It's like we've ruined everything. And it's not fun anymore, you know? Like the reason people like TikTok, like the reason TikTok's so popular right now, it's getting ruined too. Like they've monetized it, but you can learn things. Like we as humans are like inquisitive. We want to learn things. We want to improve our lives. We want to connect. And their algorithm is just more partial to that type of content, plus the monetization versus like Instagram. Like, I mean, Facebook's a store, Instagram's a store. Like, it's
what I think everybody should use right now, and even though this little thing has like little ads here and there,
what?
Like if you have a group of friends or people that you want to commingle with,
yeah,
I think what was it called that we use for photo circle?
Photo circle or whatever it is.
Yeah. I think that's pretty cool because it's kind of an app where you're able to show all your like kid photos
it's like
of your children because it's like private.
Yeah. I like that.
I guess you could keep your Instagram and stuff private or make another one.
But you're still subject to like the For You page or whatever. Or the main page. So it's hard because like I remember, remember AOL Instant Messenger. It's fun to chat and connect with people, read people's away messages, like get to be a part of people's lives. Like text messaging basically got rid of that because everything's like direct, immediate, efficient communication. You know, and they've tried to make it fun with emojis and GIFs, but it's not because you're not really, you know, it's like you can just call them or FaceTime them.
Yeah. Social media is starting to become market media.
I mean,
like marketing media.
I really think in the next 10 years, like, I mean, it's going to be so taboo to even say the word Facebook. I mean, people will be like, what is that? Like, it's not a positive tool in society. You know what I mean? Like, it's going to be viewed as...
I think that's the way they try to market it to Meta.
Well, they're trying to move away from like being gate kept because as a company, like they realize they're dying, but they're controlled basically by like the app store. Apple controls them. As to like what features they can add, you know, because like in other countries, Facebook is like this all like people call people through Facebook. I mean, you can do it, but nobody does it. You know, like they own commerce. Like you can order food through Facebook in other countries, but because Apple like won't let them, it's a whole thing. But not the point of this. All we're saying is like the internet should be this like amazing like beam of light that connects us all. Like you have a problem, the world is here to solve it, and instead the people in charge said, we want to use this technology and data to get as rich as humanly possible at the cost of everything. You know what I mean? To monopolize. And like they were able to also use that data and technology to change the laws to make it happen. And there are people that live on this earth that have 100 houses, $1 billion, 1 million boats, you know, servants. I mean, they are basically slave owners. Like, I mean, that's a stretch, but they are because we are slave to their products so that we can eat, have housing, have utilities, have basic things that we need. And I mean, this is not what this podcast is, and this is not the topic you brought up. Like, I'm not trying to go dark here, but
you
like,
always go dark.
but this
But
is,
it's
I mean,
fine,
this
it's
is who I
fine.
am. But like, I really truly feel like those individuals are going to be viewed so negatively. You know, there's a reason there's not a Mark Zuckerberg statue or a Jeff Bezos statue. Like, there won't be. They are villains, you know, and you can argue that like the business stuff is positive. They've created these things. Yeah, it is. But at what cost? You know, like what's the point? What's the point of being alive in 2024 with all the technology and medicine in the world if everybody can't survive and be happy at a minimum? You know what I mean? Like the poor people and those that are suffering aren't asking for yachts. They don't want yachts. They just want to be able to have a place to live and eat, you know?
Yeah.
So that's the crazy thing. And it's the internet's fault. Like,
well, that's what capitalism is.
well, and people say that, which is like the excuse, but that doesn't mean it's okay.
No, for sure.
What did Cinderella say? Just because it's what's done doesn't mean it's what should be done.
100%. And I'm not saying that that's the excuse, but I'm just saying that we do live in a capitalist society. And if you ever try to argue anything else other than a capitalist society, I mean, the Illuminati is going to come for you.
Well, that's like the dogma. And it's so fun. It's such old thinking because people really believe, like there are millions of people on this earth that think that there's like a couple systems that exist and that's it. You know what I mean? Like those systems are ideologies. They're made up. It's made up. A human being made it up.
Yeah.
And a group of people wrote books on it. You know what I mean? Like capitalism, socialism, communism, like they're just concepts. There can be more than one truth and there can be more than one thing happening at the same time.
Yeah.
Like everybody can eat and have housing and rich people can still be evil, you know?
I mean, but in order to do that and put all those things into play, like society just has to come together and vote. And, you know, because we don't live in a dictatorship. We live in a moment to where we are. But when you are brainwashed to go a certain way, or, you know, like, and you have the money and means to be able to do that, to brainwash people and to hire the most, you know, then it's going to happen because the rich people put the laws into play. You know what I'm saying?
Well, and that's why like this is a positive conversation because the internet is the solution. Like the tool is there. We're just not using it, you know, like people can Google.
But even if we did use it, the algorithms are going to push it to the people who think like us, not to the people who don't think like us, because they get a different algorithm than we do, you know?
Well, with social content, yeah. But they can Google, like, what are my rights? Like, does this politician...
But there's still outlets out there that, like, are opinion columns that, like, aren't based on fact.
Well, that's like I was listening to a podcast this week, and they were interviewing Pete Buttigieg, who is Secretary of Transportation. He ran for president.
Who is gay.
Like, and one of the questions the reporter asked was, why do you go on Fox News? And he said, because how else are the people that watch Fox News who disagree so vehemently and publicly with our policies that actually benefit them ever going to hear what we have to say?
Going to get a different perspective, yeah.
He goes, because
especially with
our policies benefit them, we're trying to help them, and they're actively voting against their own self-interest because of the media they're consuming and other reasons, and maybe
story as old as time,
whatever. So, you know, at least there's leaders in our society that are willing to be brave, you know, like, so the internet is good. It's like, and then they can go home and they can say, oh, like the reason I lost my health care is because of the president I voted for and bought t-shirts for. Like, maybe I should get my health care back. You know what I mean? Or maybe I should get my retirement money back. I don't know. Anyway, so that's not the point of this, but the internet is the problem and the solution. And I wish we could have this conversation again in a few years. And I say, my favorite thing on the internet is this. And it's some, you know, platform that, you know, helps connect families and friends, and we can share things and be joyful and problem solve. Like, I wish that existed without 7,000 ads, because who wouldn't want to be there? You know what I mean? Like, and I think people
you got to monetize those things somehow though.
But you don't.
Yeah, you do. Like, I mean,
but you don't. Like, if there's a service that benefits people and moves everybody forward in a positive way, why does it have to be monetized? Why can't it be a public utility? Why can't the government pay for it? We pay taxes. You know what I mean? Like it's a mindset shift. Like think about
I know, but I think
something that I think about that you actually introduced me to that could have been an amazing thing on the internet is what was the audio platform? Not Boomerang. So there was an audio platform that blew up.
Oh, Clubhouse.
It was called Clubhouse, and it was a way for people using their voice to communicate with strangers. And these groups and social circles formed. This culture formed.
Yeah, but it
became.
No, I felt like that sucked too, just because there's a lot of gatekeepers in that whole thing.
Well, that's my point. The point of it was positive.
Yeah, but then it got into gatekeeping.
It was human beings that said, how can I capitalize on this to benefit my personal interest versus how can we make this tool this amazing community space, which would actually benefit everybody more than the money that, some jerk made off of gatekeeping it.
Yeah.
But that's like the difference between people. It's like there are people that think me, 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 me. And there are people that think,
or you would like start a room, and then like since you started the room and you had like a lot of followers or whatever, like you would only have people be a speaker and other people were just the listeners.
Or they cut people off and all kinds of stuff. It was weird.
Yeah. And it was just like, okay.
But that's a great example of like something that could have been just this amazing thing. You know what I mean? It's like, it's very interesting, but like division sells, like controversy sells, like we have a podcast.
I mean, I think that's why TikTok is so great too, is that, I mean, obviously you see how they were trying to shut it down because like information was getting out like never before, and
which is scary to think about. I mean, the sheer concept that people lived without the internet, and you had to believe what a biased reporter or a reporter doing a proper job of vetting both sides said, and that is what informed public opinion and then power. Without the internet is a terrifying thing. I mean, I'm sure there's books on it. Like obviously there's a lot of books on the things that eventually came out.
Yeah.
Like Richard Nixon and all these things. I mean, they had recordings. That's why they were able to prove it. But it's scary to think of all the stuff that has happened. Like, I mean, Me Too movement, like before, like all these, grannies.
That's why education is very important. But then also, where you get educated.
That's wild. What would you say your favorite thing on the internet is? YouTube, the voice voting app, DoorDash, looking at photos of fast food. Redfin. Oh yeah, that's your favorite place of the internet.
It's so funny because it's like I know of every single like new house that has come up in my area because I have looked at everything and everything is like graded out on my Redfin.
Oh my
that
gosh.
Like if a new property comes on, like all these like green little properties like start showing up on my map.
You're like, this is my moment.
So I know of all the new stuff that is coming out. So if you want to know, just like let me know.
Redfin is a good one.
Yeah, I just love to see all the houses and be a little see how the other side lives, the other half lives.
It's crazy. Anyway, all right, let us know what you guys think.
Sound off in the comments.
Just remember, we are satirical, but sarcastic,
but you could still call us names,
and saucy.
Any engagement is amazing.
We'll take what we can get. If you like this podcast, let us know. If not,
let us know.
We hope you have an amazing week. Go buy yourself some cookie crumble. The flavors look pretty good this week. Otherwise, we will see you next time on the number 2 podcast.
Bye.